Hi, welcome to Dorm Room Discussions. I'm Joshua Gingwick. Please do note that this episode will be more politically based, but I think it'll still be informative and hopefully good. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the MLB All-Star Game. The 2021 All-Star Game was moved just a few days ago, was announced that it would be moved from Atlanta. But to understand why it was moved from Atlanta, we need to first understand what happened in Georgia. Last week, Georgia, or a few days ago, Georgia passed a law that is, in essence, voter disenfranchisement. For many of us know, Georgia went Democrat and voted for Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election and voted two Democratic senators in the January runoff. As a result, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and others are trying to make it harder for blacks and minorities who usually vote Democrat to vote, thus trying to get Republicans and usually older white men back in power. And so why was the game moved? MLB has followed suit from other companies by protesting Georgia businesses as a result of this. They're saying voter disenfranchisement is just straight up bad, which to me it is. Denying people the right to vote is just bad. That's can't really be said. It doesn't give them a voice in government and the decisions that are made that affects their local area or the country as a whole. MLB also posted a hype video for the 2021 season featuring several Puerto Rican and Dominican players like Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto. It would have been a bad look for MLB to promote these players, but then not take a stand against those who are trying to disenfranchise people who have the same background as these players. So that's what happened in Georgia and why is the game moved. And almost immediately there was a vehement reaction on the internet with people yelling at MLB to stay away from the subject. They're telling them to stick to sports because they don't like the mixture of politics and sports. But athletics and politics do go hand in hand. And telling athletes to not get involved in politics is dangerous and dehumanizing. With the rise, and so I want to debunk this stick to sports thing. With the rise of social media, athletes' role in politics has been elevated and spotlighted more. It's become easier for players and coaches to get their word out about what they believe in, and it's become easier to stand beside it or criticize it. In 2016, LeBron James endorsed Hillary Clinton for president. Even though Clinton lost Ohio and eventually the presidency, it's not unreasonable to think that some people might have voted for Clinton because James endorsed her, because James is such a big name athlete. However, James's involvement in politics has drawn some critics. In 2018, James criticized then President Trump, and Laura Ingraham, a Fox News anchor and big Trump supporter, told James to shut up and dribble and that he should stay out of politics. Athletes have an elevated platform, one that most people won't ever get to. Therefore, they should be talking about important issues because they give a voice to people who don't have one. They can create an impact that most others cannot. We even saw conservative pundits criticizing athletes for taking part in the Black Lives Matter movement over the last year. Athletes, specifically black athletes, know what it's like to be afraid of the cops. Former Milwaukee Bucks guard Sterling Brown had an incident with the Milwaukee police in 2018. The police didn't view him as an NBA player. They viewed him as a black man and was therefore dangerous. Having athletes get involved in these marches and protests says that just because they can dunk a basketball or hit a 400-foot homer doesn't mean that they don't go through the same struggles that millions of other people go through in this country. And it can help energize a movement and give it more life. Telling an athlete that he or she should not get involved in politics and should stick to sports is dehumanizing. There's no doubt in my mind that if an athlete had come out and said something pro-Trump, then Ingram wouldn't have told the athlete to shut up and dribble. She might have even said that this athlete is fighting for the true America or some other crazy thing like that. Telling an athlete to shut up and dribble reduces the athlete to nothing more than the sports he or she plays. It says that the athlete has no worth off the playing surface. It says that the athlete has no benefit to society other than dancing like a puppet for the rest of society's entertainment. However, the athlete, like everybody else, is human. He or she still has First Amendment rights, specifically the freedom of speech, the freedom to peacefully assemble, and the freedom to petition. If LeBron James wants to criticize the president, then he's perfectly within his rights to do so. If MLB wants to show it disagrees with some voter restriction laws being passed in Georgia by moving the All-Star Game, it's within its rights to do so. And you can criticize, you can say, I disagree with this move. It's as Stacey Abrams said, that MLB should not be moving the All-Star Game because it's going to damage businesses, but she did approve with the reasons for moving it, just that they shouldn't move it. So you can criticize the move all you want, but you can't say. But telling an athlete, telling a league to stick to the sport, it tells them that they only exist that sports exist in a tiny little metaphorical subsection of America, and they don't have access to the rest of the country, and they don't have a voice. This has been Dorm Room Discussions. I'm Joshua Gingwick. Have a nice day.